Hello, I'm Random Randy, and with the new season about to begin, I'm here to teach you how to get to Legendary the fastest way possible. I know there's other guides about what to do in order to get to Legendary. This will be the fastest way you can possibly get to Legendary. This guide is not meant for any sort of serious player, because you will be utilizing techniques that will make you feel uncomfortable. What you're going to need is you're going to need Game Loop Emulator and the COD mobile game, of course. You're also going to need a teammate. This only works if you use doubles on first person, one of you on an emulator. And you're going to say, but Randy, why do we want to play on emulator? Well, I don't know why people play on emulator. Seriously? I mean, like, they seriously play on emulator? I mean, I get if you were going to download the emulator, try the game out, think it's really neat, whatever. But if I was going to play COD Mobile on my computer, I'm going to play COD Warzone. I don't know why I would play COD Mobile on my computer. But that being said, when you have your teammate, you click double first person. If you're usually playing on a mobile and you're doing this for the sake of it, make sure that you've set it to double and first person. And the reason I say that is because it's very easy to be in the last game mode you're in, go in, accidentally end up in a 4-man squad on third person, and you're going to find some of the sweatiest players that you've come across who for some reason have chosen emulator as their gameplay. Now that being said, what you want to do, and I actually did a poor job of this for this video, you want to look around and you see how you see like the characters running around that have one of the first 3 skins that you get. Those are pretty much always bots in VR, unless someone's trying to be funny and look like a bot. So what you want to look for is no backpack, black knife. Almost nobody who's doing the whole I'm a bot he thing remembers to place a black knife. And so if you have a question about whether or not it's a real player, if they have a black knife, they're almost guaranteed not. So the reason I was thinking about it as I was grinding to Legendary and spending 20 minutes to get 11, 15 points or whatever, in probably season 2, and it occurred to me that most people don't actually play on emulator because, again, playing on emulator earns you no respect. Everybody just wonders the same thing. Why are you playing this game on emulator? But BR is always ranked, and it fills lobbies with bots to keep the games going. So I thought, well, if I'm in a game on emulator, then there's going to be more bots than real players, which, I mean, there's always more bots than real players. I can't say there's always, but we all know that there's easily half of them are bots most games. I'm pretty sure in this game here, there was not a single real player in the game other than myself and my teammate. I would highly recommend one of you is a engineer, and I mean usually I go scout, but Poltergeist had just come out and I just got it, so I'm like, oh, I'm gonna be Poltergeist, even though I don't know how I feel about that one yet. That being said, what you're going to want to do is land in one of the major areas that has a chopper. Now, the nuclear facility isn't guaranteed to have a chopper, but it's pretty much never let me down. And honestly, if it didn't have a chopper, it wouldn't be the end of the world, as long as you don't really have any real players in the game. You're going to want to loot, and I actually got super lucky. I got a legendary laser sight. I got adrenaline. I got level 3 vest and armor or whatever. So we went directly for the class upgrade. Now, if you don't have adrenaline, if you don't have armor. I mean, most of the time when I start a game, I don't get lucky enough to just accidentally come across all of that. I would highly recommend going to the first airdrop and looting up until it's announced that the airdrop's coming, and then get your class upgrade in between the first and second airdrop. Now, I'm switching a lot of weapons in the while I'm riding in the helicopter. There's a very specific reason that you want one player on emulator and one player on some sort of mobile device. What a lot of people don't know, because most people who play COD Mobile play it on a mobile, is that the emulator actually doesn't work very well. You can get stuck ADSing. You can get stuck ADSing without the ability to shoot. You can not have the ability to ADS or shoot. Like, imagine you have your sniper rifle out. You can't ADS. What are you going to do? Hip fire it? Good luck with that. But anyway, that being said, when you go to the first airdrop, if you see a helicopter, do not go to that airdrop. You're going for maximizing points in the shortest amount of time. If you find another helicopter going toward the airdrop, that is a guaranteed player, because we all know bots don't fly helicopters, or at least they don't yet. That being said, you might very well land, take them out, and get the airdrop all to yourself, and then all the subsequent airdrops for that matter. But when we landed at that first airdrop, there were 73 players left, which means you have the potential of winning the gunfight against whatever real players they might be, or coming in 73rd place, which, I don't know, would probably be like 23rd place. Oh no, it'd probably be like 50th place, actually, when it comes to doubles. So that's not a risk that you should be willing to take. If you're that confident in your playing, you probably shouldn't be using this method, because this is meant really for people who don't actually care about BR. With the COD mobile prices that exist, I wouldn't blame anyone for doing this just to get the skin. When it comes down to it, we all utilize the best map or the best mode for any sort of challenge completion. So when it comes down to it, this is meant for people who are just going for the skin, or if you want to hit legendary but you don't really care about BR, MP's your thing and you're legendary, but like you just really don't have the time to play it, BR, this is the way to do it. Now, what I was just doing when you saw me switch weapons a few times and scope in and scope out, I was trying to get it to get stuck so I could make the point. That being said, I forgot to mention that yes, this video is moving very fast. It is not any sort of hack, it's just double speed for the sake of making this video. The actual match was 19 minutes long. Now, when I was playing in Season 2, and it was up until the end of last season, 20 points plus 2 points per kill for first place for a 20-minute game is pretty weak. I know everyone thinks that, well, they're just handing out legendary now, and BR is too easy. And I would posit the idea that if I can make 17, 24 points, let's just say, I don't know, Master 5 is probably like 12 points on a good game. I can play 5 games. I could definitely play 2 to 3 games within the time of one BR match. So when they upped the points, it was really more about evening out the time spent versus points gained. I know there was a huge debate about it. It's a little bit over now. I think people just kind of got over it, but everyone was up in an uproar when it first changed, and I didn't understand why, because it only made sense. It's not that they made BR easier, it's that they made it what it should have been the whole time. Now, back to the emulator. So, emulator is actually pretty bad. There were a bunch of phones up until very recently that would black screen crash if you weren't running the lowest graphics. All of these phones seem to be running Snapdragon 855 or 855 plus processors. The Black Shark 2, Black Shark 2 Pro, Red Magic 3, Red Magic 3S, ROG 2, and OnePlus T or OnePlus 7T would all have the black screen error. Even the emulator can have the black screen error. That's why my buddy was flying the whole time, just in case. And we just won that 45 points. And that's at Master, or I mean at Legendary. So basically, you're going to be guaranteed to win. You're going to be guaranteed to get points as long as you don't pick a fight. If you see a character skin that is remotely uncommon, do not pick a fight if you're just going to maximize points. If you want to play a little dangerously, by all means, try your luck. The emulator is kind of weird because you'll find people who are playing like I was, where, I mean, I shot a guy with a sniper rifle across the road. I mean, nobody would ever actually do that. Maybe if they had the exotic Arctic 50, I don't know. But because I was sure that it was a bot, and I'm pretty sure there were no real players in that game, I was just like, well, I got my sniper in hand, I guess I'll shoot this guy. But you can come across people who are playing like I was, and you can come across people who are playing very uncommonly hardcore, again, for playing a mobile game on a computer. It is super important that you do not pick squad. If you pick squad, or let's say you and your buddy are doing this technique and one other friend comes in and he's like, hey man, I want to play too. You can't do it successfully. With 3 people, with 4 people, you can make it work just yourself as single on, the emulator. But even then, the gimping that happens from running on an emulator, you can't map the keys, you can't change the key bindings. It feels totally awkward. You will play worse than you play on the phone on the emulator. Now, if you're terrible on the phone, okay, you might actually play better. But I personally play much worse on the emulator, and I'm willing to bet the majority of people are that way. Now, the computer I'm running this on is not a gaming computer. It's a laptop, and it ran integrated graphics. So basically, if you have access to any legitimate PC, you should be fine to be able to do this. Again, if you do utilize this technique, understand that nobody will have respect for you, and they won't have respect for me either for me putting this video out. But the reality is, I have plenty of gameplay where you actually see it say at the top of the lobby. In fact, I'll go back to that just for a second here. If you look at the top, it says your team has a player using a controller or that was really fast, a controller or emulator. So if you have someone in your team that is running that, you'll see that icon at the top. The icon is actually next to their character name, the little gamepad or whatever. If you do this and you want to be taken seriously, you basically don't tell anybody that you did it this way. This method is not for someone who seriously plays the game. This method is for someone who's just trying to get their BR rewards and doesn't really care about it. I prefer BR over MP. If someone told me about a way to do this with MP, I'd be psyched because I pretty much hate every moment of MP. I was pretty psyched in my other video about qualifying on the 4th weekend. I went 5 straight wins MVP, and that's uncharacteristic of my MP gameplay. So it's important that you really only use this method for the reasons I've suggested. You won't get better. In fact, if you do go into BR, you'll see you get legendary, and then you go back to your phone and you go into BR. You are not going to be ready. You're going to be used to playing it on emulator, and when you get back in, you're not going to play seriously. It's too easy to forget that when you're playing against potentially real players, whereas on emulator, I've never seen more than 3 other teams in the same game. And I just want to put this out there because I know there's a lot of people who they don't have the time. They don't have let's be honest, there's probably a lot of people who just don't have the skill to make it to legendary, even in BR, which people consider easier than MP. And I consider BR easier than MP because I'm better at BR. That's why. But hopefully this will help somebody. And if you don't like my video, by all means, leave a comment and like and subscribe. But I don't know how anybody says that seriously ever. Play the game the right way. But if you don't care about BR, use this method. Play what you like. You create the new meta.